Graphing by plotting points works for most graphs. If you don't really know what the graph looks like, you can always plot points. So if you remember, a graph is just all the solutions to this equation, all the matching x and y coordinates. So you can plug any x value you want. I'm going to pick 0, 1, and 2, and then plug them in. So if I plug in 0, I get -1. And now I can plug in 1, and I get 1. And then so on, I get 3. And then plotting those gives me my graph. 0, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 3. And we already know that this is the line, and there's our graph. So let's try it again. So if I plug in 0, I get -3. We all know how to plug, so I'm going to do these a little quicker. 1 minus 3 is -2. And then 2 squared is 4, minus 3 is 1. Now you notice it didn't give us much information. So let's go the other direction. -1, -2, -3. If we plug in -1, that's 1 minus 3 is -2. That's 4 minus 3 is 1. And that's 9 minus 3, which is 6. So -1 is -2. -2 is -1. And then -3 is +6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you notice it's making a U shape. If you ever see a square, they're going to have this shape. And by plotting points, we can create that shape. Okay? If you have a radical, it looks like this. So after plotting points, we get that shape. And remember, you can plug an infinite number of points. So you notice I plugged in a 4. Is it 1 and a 0? Because I know the square root of those would give me nice answers. Nice real numbers. And if I plugged in a negative, I got not real. That's why the graph stops there. So on these, we're just getting rough estimates of the graph. And we're also determining the shapes. So if you see a square, we know it's parabolic. If you see a root, it has this shape. An absolute value is a V. So watch this one. So by plugging in points, it's going linear. I need that upward motion, and there we go. And so now we get that V shape we want. When you have a cube, this looks kind of like an S. So you should be getting this shape. And there you go. It's just an infinite number of points you can plug in. So you keep plugging in points until you get the shape that you want. And this one we know again is a square, so it's a parabola. If we solve it for y, we can now graph it. Plugging in some random points. Now the more you do this, the better you get at it. You start recognizing patterns and similarities between the type of graph and the points you plug in. So you really have to just keep plugging in points into many, many graphs. But if you see a square, it's a U shape. A cube is kind of like an S. Absolute values look like V's. Now all of these could be upside down and in any direction. Well, I guess there's up or down. That's it. And then if you see a square root, it should like this. Again, there's another square. And then no exponents is linear. So if you recognize the type of graph, all you have to do is plug in points until you get the graph shape you're looking for. And that's it.